Look closely at the eyes of this cat. Can you see anything unusual? No? And you're right, she has simple cat eyes. But sometimes this happens. It's called persistent pupillary membrane. This phenomenon is found not only in cats, but also in dogs, horses, cattle. What to do with it? Is it dangerous? In this video, I've compiled rare things that can happen to your pets that you must know about. Let's go. 12-year-old Caitlin Thornley suddenly started sneezing, and she did it not once, not 3 or 5 times, but over 12,000 times in one day. There were episodes that caused the girl to sneeze 20 times a minute for 15 minutes straight. Doctors couldn't do anything. It was a medical mystery. Probably something nervous? What if the cat starts sneezing nonstop, just like this one? To be honest, I haven't found any explanation for this phenomenon. Maybe something got in the cat's nose, or maybe it's something else. I hope that the owners...
She's trying to...
Bless you, God's sake. So I hope the owners took it to the vet, and I hope he didn't say the cat was just allergic to cats. Now, back to animals with glassy eyes. This happens when the fetal membrane is retained in the eye. In simple terms, the cracks are thin threads that should have disappeared before the kitten was born or a few weeks after, but for some reason the membrane has remained in place. The good news is that this effect usually doesn't affect vision. The bad news is that I said usually for a reason. If the threads shift closer to the cornea or the lens, they can cause problems. And it seems to be the same for both cats and people. In fact, our eyes have a lot more in common than one might think. For example, heterochromia, a phenomenon in which the iris colors of the right and left eyes differ from each other. It's found in cats, humans, as well as dogs, horses, cows, and Asian buffalo. You could say heterochromia is a mutation.
One green, one blue. It's a mutation. It's a very groovy mutation. I've got news for you, Amy.
Yes, thank you, Charles. Another common feature is luminous eyes. Oh, come on. You probably have a picture of someone looking like a vampire. The thing is, when you flash, the pupil of the eye doesn't have time to narrow, and the light reflects off the retina, which is covered in tiny blood vessels. Yeah, the red eyes in the photo literally turn out red because of the blood. But when you photograph animals, the red eye effect can be very different. Animals have a reflective layer that forms in the retina of their eyes, and it's called tapetum lucidum. This layer pumps their night vision and at the same time makes the eye in the photo weird. But cats go even further. If you encounter a cat in minimal light, you probably won't see anything. Nothing but glowing eyes that are pointed right at you. They glow so brightly that it can even be frightening. The ancient Greeks believed that there was a source of light inside the cat's eyes, like a flickering fire. In fact, it's only a reflection of light. In other words, you won't see the cat's eyes in total darkness, and neither the rest of the cat. Except, of course, when cats begin to glow in the dark on their own. South Korean scientists have manipulated cat genes to eventually create animals that glow in ultraviolet light. It's a really sophisticated experiment that was done back in the mid-zeros, and it was successful. Guess who will be the coolest on the cat dance floor? And where there are luminous cats, there have to be luminous mice. They don't even need special lamps. The rodents simply glow in the dark thanks to a protein produced by jellyfish. Genetic experiments have literally made stylish lights out of mice. Imagine, your luminous cat chased a luminous mouse and knocked over a plant pot, also luminous. Nothing strange. Scientists have already mixed plant and firefly DNA to end up with natural light sources. You have to agree, it sounds like fun if we stop wasting electricity in the evenings and just use plant light. Well, or at least put a ficus instead of a nightlight. Oh, how about a glowing Christmas tree?
Oh, no.
Actually, this research has a pretty big future. After all, you'll be able to find your pets in complete darkness, even if they're as black as the night itself. Meet Bruce. And as a baby, he looked like this. And here's Bruce 14 weeks later. This cat completely changed color and did it on purpose because, well, he wanted to? Okay, actually, in evolutionary terms, this fur color is rare, sort of like limited edition clothing. In nature, animals with black coloration are rare. A large amount of melanin, a dark pigment, is responsible for it. More often than not, melanism is related to the process of adaptation. Individuals become darker for successful survival and reproduction in an unfavorable environment. For example, melanism makes some species less visible to predators, while predators use it to sneak up on their prey. Imagine if this happened to all animals. Steve! Steve! I finally caught that antelope! That's my hind paw, Bob. Damn it! And now I'm going to ask a very strange question. Have you ever heard what slugs sound like? This can be disturbing for Ron Weasley.
It's disgusting.
Slugs are very quiet guys. Partly it's because they don't and can't seem to have vocal cords. But why someone who can tear its head off and grow a whole body anew would need any vocal cords? Sea slugs of the genus Elysia have learned this trick. Apparently, this is their way of fighting parasites, and it's the most brutal way I've ever seen. Imagine a person who has, well, for example, a stomach ache, and instead of taking a pill, this person is like, doesn't matter, I'll grow a new body. That'd be pretty handy if you think about it, but vertebrates rarely get cool regeneration or some kind of colored blood, like snails, lobsters, and spiders have. Exceptions, characters from comic books, science fiction, and a 25-year-old unnamed girl. She sought emergency treatment when she felt ill from a large amount of benzocaine she used for a toothache. The anesthetic led to weakness, shortness of breath, and blue mucous membranes, and when doctors took the girl's blood, it turned out to be blue. It's unclear if the dose was too high or if it was an individual body reaction or a cosplay. I don't know. But the blue blood wasn't doing its oxygen function well, so the girl had to be left in the hospital. And the interesting thing is that her toothache never went away. Had it not been for her poor health, the girl could have been one of the Fugates, the bluest family in the history of mankind. And this is not a metaphor. Members of the Fugate family from Kentucky really did have blue skin color. It all began with the marriage of Martin and Elizabeth Fugate in 1820. They were both carriers of a rare gene that, when amplified, gave 4 of their 7 children strange skin and strange blood. Perhaps that would have been the end of the story, but the Fugates lived in isolation and intermarried among themselves. As a result, the influence of the Smurf gene didn't diminish, and blue children continued to be born. Surprisingly, family members remained more or less healthy, and treatment over time slightly reduced the blue. Benjamin Stacy, born in 1975, is the last known Fugate descendant with blue skin. But soon he too became normal, with only small areas on his lips and fingertips remaining. Now only illustrations and stories remind us of the Fugates. Perhaps in time, people will say that the Fugates were made blue by aliens and everything in those places was blue. The trees, the people, the dogs. But to see real blue dogs, you'd have to move from Kentucky to Texas. Here, a mysterious creature was found, almost completely devoid of hair, but with blue skin and bright blue eyes. Locals believe the Texas blue dog is a chupacabra, a mysterious blood-drinking beast. Similar dogs have been seen here more than once or twice, but no one has yet been able to catch the beast. Numerous DNA tests suggest that this animal is a hybrid of a coyote on its mother's side and a Mexican wolf on its father's side. But come on, who wouldn't want to believe in a blue-eyed monster unknown to science?
It was just strange, it was just weird looking.
How crazy is that?
Especially since sometimes myths do find real confirmation. On the island of Corsica, there have long been legends about fox cats, which seem to live on the slopes of the mountains and only come down at night to attack lambs and drink their blood. What's without blood? The real fox cat was first discovered in 2008, and research on them has been going on ever since. Imagine how surprised the scientists were. A new species, and found completely by accident. Well, what are the odds that you, walking near your house, will suddenly come across a Bigfoot or a hedgehog with a balloon syndrome? Wait, what? Yes, sometimes people bump into hedgehogs that for some reason are shaped like a ball covered in needles. So-called balloon syndrome happens in hedgehogs with damaged skin or infections. Gas builds up under the skin and, well, fortunately victims can be deflated if you take them to the vet in time. You know what this reminds me of? Have you seen this cartoon too? We'll see you later.